Rubhyascha kripasinjaya cha patitanam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. My apologies, we got started a little late today. It's 8:07, so we'll have to have our japa for just 3 to 4 minutes rather than 10. Please, along with me, out loud. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so let's get right to it. Again, forgive me for being a little late. Here at the Mandir was taking care of some visitors, and we always enjoy having visitors. So, chapter 18, part 2, and we will hopefully try to finish the chapter this week, today. And if I remember correctly, we ended on verse number 20. I think it was 23. Yep, let's go with number 23. Oh, no, it was the 5 factors of action. So that was text 17. That was 16. So text 17. One who is not motivated by false ego, whose intelligence is not entangled. Yes, I remember that. One who is not motivated by false ego, whose intelligence is not entangled, though he kills men in this world, does not kill, nor is he bound by his actions. We went into detail in this verse to make sure it is not abused by people saying, oh, I can do whatever I want because I'm actually not doing it. It's being done by the 5 factors of action. No, the only way you are not bound by the fruits of your actions is if you are not motivated by a false ego. In other words, you essentially have to be Christ. All right. Your intelligence cannot be entangled. Then you're essentially a liberated individual, and your activities are always in that state of being. One's activities, one's words, one's motivations are always pure and for the benefit of all. So that's the key. Text 18. Knowledge, the object of knowledge, and the knower are the 3 factors that motivate action. The senses, the work itself, and the doer are the 3 constituents of action. Krishna is just describing how we move through the world, what motivates us, how we function in the world, how we interact with the world, and so on. This becomes important in verses 40 and onwards. According to the 3 different modes of material nature, sattva, rajas, and tamas, there are 3 kinds of knowledge: action and performer of action. Now hear of them from me. Text 20. That knowledge by which one undivided spiritual nature is seen in all living entities, though they are divided into numerable forms, you should understand to be in the mode of goodness. So that knowledge, that understanding by which we see there's a spiritual being, Atman, within all different types of bodies, that person, that type of knowledge is said to be in the mode of goodness. That is sattvic knowledge. Oftentimes there are some talks about, in spiritual circles, whether animals have a soul, whether Black people have a soul. That is, as we're going to see, that type of understanding is knowledge in the mode of tamas, tamaguna. Knowledge where we understand that all different bodies, ant, cow, human, black, dog, cat, all different bodies still have the same spiritual jivatma residing within. That is knowledge in the mode of sattva guna. Text 21. That knowledge by which one sees, that in every different body there is a different type of living entity, you should understand to be in the mode of passion. This is where people say, I don't know, this animals have an animal soul, dogs have a dog soul, humans have a human soul. That knowledge is secondary in Krishna's estimation. Text 22. And that knowledge by which one is attached to one kind of work as the all in all, without knowledge of the truth, and which is very meager, is said to be in the mode of tamaguna. So this knowledge, this is a type of knowledge where you simply think that you're simply driven by the sense desires and not by any higher understanding of purpose and meaning in life, essentially. You have whatever job you have to get what you can to satisfy your material senses on a very basic level without considering meaning of life. What is the meaning of life? That's what it means when Krishna says truth. What does he say? Without knowledge of the truth. In other words, what's the meaning of your existence? If you do not have meaning of existence, the purpose of your existence, and you're just working just to satisfy the very meager, basic necessities of life, it's very unfortunate, and that understanding is tamasic. Text 23. That action, so we're talking about knowledge, now Krishna's talking about activities. That action which is regulated, which is performed without attachment, without love or hatred, and without desire for fruitive results, is said to be in the mode of goodness. This is sattva guna. So that activity which is performed without attachment to results, you simply do it as a matter of a personal duty. That type of activity is in the mode of goodness, because that type of activity leads to sattva guna. When you are not attached to the results, you will always continue to do the right thing. When you're not attached to the results of your activities, you cannot be swayed, you cannot be led astray from the path of dharma. You stick to the path of dharma, you stick to the activities of dharma because it's the right thing to do, and you're not and all sidetracked by meager gratification of the senses because you're not attached to that. That is sattva guna. That action performed in illusion, in disregard of scriptural injunctions, and without concern for future bondage or for violence or distress caused to others, is said to be in the mode of ignorance. I think we missed one. We missed the mode of passion. We missed the second one. That's text 24. But action performed with great effort by one seeking to gratify his senses and enacted from a sense of false ego is called action in the mode of Raja Guna. Text 25, that action performed in illusion, in total disregard of scriptural injunctions, in other words, counter to the principles of Dharma, and without concern for future bondage or for violence or distress caused to others is said to be in Tamaguna. Right, so remember, we were talking about before, earlier in the verse, Krishna saying, even if you kill someone, if you're operating on a certain level, you're not bound by it. Because on that level, sattva guna, you are concerned. You are involved with whether you're not causing violence or distress to others. So by the very nature of being transcendent, beyond attachment to the material mind and senses, you are beyond the motivations of causing harm and violence to others. So once you reach that state, naturally your activities are going to be for the welfare, for the benefit of yourself and of all involved. Text 26. One who performs his duty without association with the modes of material nature, without false ego, with great determination and enthusiasm, and without wavering in success or failure is said to be a worker in the mode of goodness. So this is how we must move through the world. I'm going to read it again, right? One who performs their duty without association with the material modes of nature. In other words, the work that you do, you offer it to the Supreme. That's how you engage in work that is above triguna, above sattva, above rajas, above tama. The only way to work above those three is when you offer your work in yajna, in sacrifice of Vishnu, right? All the way back in the 3rd chapter, Krishna talked about this. Yajñar tat karma nonyatra loko yam karma bandhana. Tarartam karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. Work done as yajna should be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage. It causes bondage because it's part of triguna. That's why it causes bondage. Work done in satisfaction of Supreme always causes one to remain free from bondage. So this is yajñartat karmanonyatra. Do your work as yajna to the Supreme, then it is beyond triguna. One who performs his duty without association with the modes of material nature, without false ego, with great determination and enthusiasm, and without wavering in success or failure is said to be a worker in the mode of goodness. In effect, beyond goodness. Text 27. The worker who is attached to work and the fruits of work, desiring to enjoy those fruits, and who is greedy, always envious, impure, and moved by joy and sorrow, is said to be in the mode of Raja Guna. This is 97% of the workers in the world. Text 28. The worker who is always engaged in work against the injunctions of the scripture, who is materialistic, obstinate, cheating, and expert in insulting others, and who is lazy, always morose, and procrastinating, is said to be a worker in tamaguna. Now, when Krishna describes all this, he's not castigating individuals. He's saying these are the various energies that exist in this world. Krishna is pointing them out because he's saying, rise above them. Rise above them. Know what they are so you know how to rise above them. Krishna's not condemning individuals to these various modes. Not by a long shot. That's not what Krishna is doing here. Krishna is saying these are the modes, know what these energies are. Now, following the Vedic scriptures, following the principles of Dharma, and remember, principles of Dharma are universal, Sanatan, within every spiritual path are the core principles of Dharma. So you don't have to read Sanskrit in order to follow the principles of Dharma. Very important to recognize and to note. But Krishna is saying, rise above the three modes of material nature. This is what they are. Rise above them, transcend them. Then you will see, then the questions you have about what you should do in this world will answer themselves. If you are completely under the control of the three modes of material nature, you are going to ask that question and you're going to get all kinds of answers. And you're going to be continuing to ask yourself these questions as you go through life because you're being buffeted by these three modes of material nature. Krishna says, no, rise above these three modes. Anyone can do it. Rise above these three modes of material nature, then ask the question, what should I be doing? And the answer will take care of itself. The answer, you won't even need to ask the question because it'll be clear, right? If you're in the basement of a house, only when you're in the basement of the house, when there are no windows, can you ask the question, what's the weather like outside? That's the only place where that question has validity. But if you're out of the basement and you're on the top floor of the Empire State Building, the question doesn't even arise. You're in a situation where you have full scope and full understanding of all you need to know about the weather. The question doesn't even arise when you're on that level of consciousness. So when we're above the three modes of material nature, the questions of what should I do, what should I not do, don't even come up because you're operating on a higher level of consciousness and awareness. So Krishna is saying, remember, Krishna is not putting people down by you're in the mode of, that's what we do, right? That's what we do in religion. Religion says, oh, that we judge you, you're this, you're that, you're this, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. And Krishna's not judging here. That's what religion does. Krishna tells Arjuna, these are the modes of material nature, know what they are, now rise above them. Don't ask, should I or should I not go to war? Wrong question. You're in a basement, you'll never know. No matter what you choose down in the basement, you're going to be wrong because you do not have the full picture. Get out of the basement, then you will see the question will answer itself. That's what Krishna is saying here. What verse are we on now? Text 29. O winner of wealth. Now, please listen as I tell you in detail of the different kinds of understanding and determination, according to the three modes of material nature, Triguna. Text 30. O son of Pritha, that understanding by which one knows what ought to be done and what ought not to be done, what is to be feared and what is not to be feared, what is binding and what is liberating, is in Sattva Guna. So the understanding by which you know what should be feared, what should not be feared, what should be done, what should not be done, what is binding, what is liberating, that understanding is Sattva Guna. In other words, what should and should not be feared is based on what is temporary, what is eternal. That's the answer to the question. What should be done, what should not be done is what is eternal, what's temporary. Once you have that realization of what is eternal, what is temporary, all these other questions of what should be done, what should not be done, answer themselves. What should be feared, what should not be feared, answers themselves. Text 31. O son of Pritha, that understanding which cannot distinguish between dharma and adharma, between action that should be done and action that should not be done, is in Rajaguna. You don't even understand what is dharma and adharma. Tapasaucha dhaya satyam. Self-mastery, cleanliness, compassion, truthfulness. Very simple. These are the four basic principles of dharma. If you're having trouble with these four principles of dharma, Rajaguna. Rajaguna, right there. Don't even need to look any further. Again, This is not about judging, it's about knowing and then choosing differently, choosing dharma. Text 32. That understanding which considers adharma to be dharma and dharma to be adharma under the spell of illusion and darkness and strives always in the wrong direction, O Partha, is in tamaguna. So it's one thing not to know what dharma is, all right? That we can, all right, someone's just, ignorant or didn't have the family support and they grew up and they just went into the workforce to take care of things and they just didn't have time to really consider all these different, not all these, but they're just thrown into the world without any support systems, particularly family support systems, guidance from mother and father. Then of course one can say, all right, they did not understand. Now we give them guidance, and once guidance is given, they understand. That's Rajaguna. But you have Tamaguna who actively think, no, actually, lying is good because if I lie and cheat, I will get more. And if I get more, then that is dharma. Accumulation itself is dharma. That is tamaguna. They think dharma is adharma and adharma is dharma. They've got it backwards and they argue this. And you may think, well, I never encountered those types of people. Sometimes get into conversations with individuals, particularly, anyways, get into deep conversations about, society issues, what's going on in life, and the reasons, the motivations behind which they do certain things. And you will see their reasoning, their motivations about why they're choosing to do this over that. And they will emotionally argue with you about how what they were doing were right. The things they were doing were right. When you can objectively, you don't want to disturb them, but you can objectively say any other person who is not emotionally involved can understand that this person is choosing what is absolutely almost objectively the wrong thing to do. And they are covering it, justifying it with some word jugglery, word salad. That is tamaguna. Text 33. O son of Pritha, that determination which is unbreakable, which is sustained with steadfastness by yoga practice, and which thus controls the activities of the mind, life, and senses, is determination in sattva guna. Text 34. But that determination by which one holds fast to fruitive results in dharma, artha, kama, and moksha is in the nature of rajaguna. Very important here, right? Krishna says dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. Forgive me, dharma, artha, kama. Where was I saying this? I don't know if I was saying it in a Bhagavad Gita class over these previous few weeks, or if I put it in an article about the Bhagavad Gita. I'm constantly sharing Bhagavad Gita classes and writing articles. I can't remember where I say some of this stuff. But I'll share it here anyways. Remember, in the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna gave many, many examples why he should not go to war. He gave examples based on Dharma Shastras, Artha Shastras, and Kama Shastras. Dharma, Artha, Kama, right? And he got nowhere. He was going around and around and around in circles. Finally, Arjuna said, I have no idea. This makes no sense to me. Remember, because he was stuck on Dharma, Artha, and Kama. That's where he was going through. Let's go back to this verse. Krishna says, "O best of the Bharatas," sorry, that's the wrong one. "But that determination by which one holds fast to the fruitive results in dharma, artha, and kama is rajaguna." Those three. Just as in the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna missed out on moksha shastra. If Arjuna had gone into moksha shastra, his questions would have been answered. But he didn't. He got stuck in dharma, artha, kama. He got stuck in rajaguna. If he had gone into moksha shastra, understanding freedom, liberation, all of his questions were answered. But he didn't go there because Krishna wanted this discussion to take place so that Krishna could share moksha shastra. This is why this conversation is taking place. Text 36, sorry, 35. And that determination which cannot go beyond dreaming, fearfulness, lamentation, moroseness, and illusion, such unintelligent determination, O son of Pritha, is in the mode of tamaguna. Text 36. 35 basically just described a person who's going through some deep mental anguish and depression, and such persons need help, medical professional help, even to bring them up, to bring them out of that. Krishna is not disparaging anyone. He's simply describing what is, and that we should all raise ourselves or help raise others, because that's where there is success in life. Transcending the modes of material nature, transcending Triguna. That's where all the answers are. O best of the Bharatas, now please hear from me about the three kinds of happiness by which the conditioned soul enjoys and by which he sometimes comes to the end of all distress. So Krishna's going to talk about happiness now. Text 37. That which in the beginning may be just like poison, but at the end is just like nectar, and which awakens one to self-realization. Brahman. Self-realization is Brahman. That's above the three modes of material nature. Is said to be happiness in the mode of goodness. Text 38. That happiness which is derived from contact of the senses with their objects, and which appears just like nectar at first, but poison at the end, is said to be Rajaguna. Text 39. And that happiness which is blind to self-realization, which is delusion from beginning to end, and which arises from sleep, laziness, and illusion, is said to be tamaguna, happiness in the mode of tamaguna. Text 40. There is no being existing either here or among the demigods in the higher planetary systems, which is freed from these modes born of material nature. These Triguna is all pervading. It's everywhere. The entire cosmos, material creation, is a manifestation of these three modes of material nature. You cannot escape them in that sense. They're everywhere. They're all pervading it. The world functions according to these three modes of material nature. We can, however, and Krishna has given this example so many times, like a lotus leaf on water, it floats on water, but it never becomes wet. We can be in the world, this material world of Triguna, but never become wet. Like a boat on the waves of the water, floats, but doesn't capsize. Text 41. Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras are distinguished by the qualities born of their own natures in accordance with the material modes, O chastiser of the enemy. Text 42. Peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and religiousness. These are the natural qualities by which the Brahmanas work. So Krishna is going to describe the four Varnas, the Brahmanas, the Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras, and how their qualities of work are listed. So we just went over the Brahmanas, right? Peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and religiousness. These are the natural qualities which the Brahmins exhibit. Text 43. Now he's going to go over the Kshatriyas. Heroism, power, determination, resourcefulness, courage in battle, courage period, generosity, and leadership are the natural qualities of work for the Kshatriyas. Text 44. Farming, cow protection, and business are the natural work for the Vaishyas. And for the Shudras, there are labor and service to others. Text 45. By following one's qualities of work, every person can become perfect. Now, please hear from me how this is done. Once again, We've come up against time and we have only gone halfway through the chapter. The 18th chapter is the longest chapter in the entire Bhagavad Gita. So there's so much going on that to just blow right through it would not do it justice. So let's stop here. Let's stop here and not try to rush through the coming very, very important points. So we'll continue from 40, this description that Krishna gives of the qualities of work from the Brahmanas onwards. So it's text 41. Om Tatsaditi Srimad Bhagavad Gita Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyaya Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Jana Sambhade Moksha Sannyasa Yoga Nama Ashtadhasham Adhyaya Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Guruvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamashnuma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Om Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. See you next week, hopefully on time, at 8 o'clock Eastern on Sunday. Hare Hare.